Craziest fails in the world. Failure isn't fatal, but failure to change might be. John Wooden. We've done some dumb things over the years. Here are some of the biggest fails in history. Welcome to Max 10 Channel. You won't want to miss number 1, so make sure you stay until the end. Kindly subscribe to the channel and click on the bell button. Number 10. When the Leaves Broke. When Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast in 2005, some damages was expected, but the destruction that occurred led to an incredible, unprecedented emergency. New Orleans saw the most damage, as the failure of their leaves caused flooding in 80% of the city. The cause of failure for their leaves was inadequate design and construction, which proved disastrous for the highly vulnerable area. Number 9. Mississippi River Collapse. The I-35W Mississippi River Bridge collapsed in 2007, leading to the deaths of 13 people and leaving 145 injured. The bridge was simply a poor design that was never fixed, and given the date of its collapse, it could have been prevented with modern technology. Number 8. Mayoral Failure. 252 people were killed in 1992 when the city of Guadalajara underwent a series of tragic explosions due to inept local governance. Days before the explosion, the city saw gas leaking into its sewers and water supply, but the mayor found it no cause for concern and left everything as is, only to see it literally explode in his face. Number 7. Siesta Surprise. There's no sleeping in war. On April 21, 1836, the Battle of San Jacinto in the Texas Revolution went down when General Santa Anna allowed his army to take an afternoon siesta in order to get some rest. Even though he was aware of the close proximity of the Texan army, General Sam Houston seized this opportunity and led a surprise attack in broad daylight, slaughtering 630 of Santa Anna's 1,400 troops. Number 6. Nazi bombs led to Nazi demise. Hitler had promised a victory on Soviet soil, but a failure to keep a mobile strategic reserve by his generals led to their defeat and turning point in World War II. At the Battle of Stalingrad, the entire German Sixth Army was surrounded by Soviet troops. Hitler tanks, however, were unable to enter the city because of the mass amount of rubble left by Germans' own bombing. Number 5. Patriarchal Failure. This one is a good kind of failure. Elizabeth Blackwell was rejected from every medical school she applied to, 29 in total, until Geneva Medical College, now Hobart College, accidentally accepted her. Despite the fact that many MDs refused to work with her, she would persevere to become the first woman to receive a medical degree in the United States. She would go on to establish the first medical college for women. Number 4. Inept intelligence sharing. The attack on Pearl Harbor can be seen as a failure of the American intelligence community, which was then lacking a centralized agency. The United States had cracked the Japanese code and warned Washington of the potential attack on Hawaii, but inadequate intelligence sharing among government agencies led to a neglect of information, and no preparations were made in case of attack. Number 3. Iraqi invasion. The war in Iraq is largely seen as one of the biggest failures in American history, with even George W. Bush laminating it as his biggest regret. The decision to invade Iraq and depose Saddam Hussein was a confluence of intelligence and policy failures. As the Bush administration embarked on a propaganda campaign to convince the world of an Iraqi weapons of mass destruction program. Number 2. Cats in the City. While Britain was suffering through the Great Plague of London, many people believed that cats were spreading the plague, and they started to kill off the city's felines. Bad idea. As it turns out, rats were responsible for the spread, and by killing off the cats, people allowed the disease to get even further out of control as the rat population boomed without much predator competition. Bonuses. Be careful of what you bake. Distraction isn't a thing that happens only because of cell phones. In fact, humans are always getting distracted. The Great Fire of London was started accidentally by a baker when he got sidetracked and forgot to rake out his oven of the day's crumblings. The baker denied it until he died. but we see you, dude. Who left the gate open? In 1453, the Ottomans attacked the Constantinople in an attempt to topple the Byzantine Empire. Though many thought this siege would fail, they underestimated good old human forgetfulness. In this case, according to a contemporary account, the Byzantines forgot to close one of their gates to Constantinople, allowing the Ottomans to waltz right in and raise their flags on city walls. This caused widespread panic among the Byzantine soldiers, and the Ottomans managed to take the rest of the city with relative ease. ChallengerMistake. When the Challenger shuttle blew up in 1986, only 73 seconds after its launch, all 7 astronauts aboard were tragically incinerated, and the American public became traumatized by the televised tragedy. What went wrong? The O-ring seal in the joint of its right solid rocket booster failed at liftoff due to the low temperatures. The O-ring was known to fail at low temperatures, but the managers of the launch ignored the warnings of the engineers about the low temperatures. Juju. Originally known as the Crunch Pad, the Juju was one of the first tablets. 2 years before Apple announced the iPad, TechCrunch co-founder Michael Argington had asked his readers to help him build the $200 Slate computer. But a fight with Fusion Garage, the hardware's company behind the Juju, meant the final $500 product would ship without Argington's involvement. And just a few days before Apple iPad launched. After all that drama, the actual Juju tablet was just plain bad, with simple browser-only software that was no match for the power of Apple's App Store ecosystem and hardware chops. Let's not even get started on the name. Number 1. Self-Defeat. The Austrian army once suffered a terrible defeat due to their own lucrative incompetence. At the Battle of Kranzenbeins, they managed to destroy most of their own army when they attacked themselves. The scouting unit for 2 separate divisions of the Austrian army mistook the other for the Ottomans, and they attacked and decimated each other. The best part is the Ottomans hadn't even shown up yet. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like button, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future amazing videos.